Was the day before yesterday, was on Tuesday.
Hello, everybody. If you are an employee working in the hospitality field, health and wellness, gyms, etc., this is for you. If you are opposed to segregation in Canada, you have an important role to play, and we want to help facilitate that. As you know, We Are All Essential is very much focused on empowering small business owners to take a stand when it comes to these tyrannical measures that have been rolled out over the past 18 months. And at the same time, employees of those small business owners need your support. And so that's what we're here to suggest. Vlad and I were at Fitness World yesterday taking a stand. And Vlad had an epiphany around a different approach we can take. We're approaching this from all angles all the time. We need to really, we're up against a lot of corruption. And so we do need to approach this from different angles. So Vlad, speak to, what this new strategy that you're thinking. I'd love to share my experience having been in hospitality for decades, as well as having my own online business in the health and wellness field. These are critical times where we are truly all essential to step up. So, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So today's Thursday, so there was a day before yesterday on Tuesday. But yeah, I know it's all together, one day at a time, right? I know we're all doing our best, and thank you, Samantha, for being so dedicated and committed to our freedom in this country. So and actually, even to preempt it, and part of the additional call to action, like we've been already asking people to do, is to actually actively engage with police officers in your local communities, right? Mm-hmm. So what we did on Tuesday before going to the gym and asserting our right to participate in the gym, which we both have memberships in, is to go to your local police station and show up as a concerned citizen and explain that you will be participating in the services because you're not going to be segregated, and you want to make sure that the police actually protects the law and respects your rights and freedoms at the same time. And there's no crimes being committed, so there's no point for them to be showing up to this call. So this is kind of what we did before, and we strongly suggest all the people to do the same, because the police will be showing up most likely, but you can do what you can to either educate them. And in fact, we do have success rate already in Ontario, for example, where myself, I actually went to Toronto Police Headquarters. I engaged them in a good conversation. I will be following up last Friday. But the same day, Peel Region, which represents Mississauga and Brampton, they actually did make a statement that they will not be answering the calls for the enforcement of the segregation policies, because there's actually other real issues for them to attend to. Right. And I think even Windsor as well is joined recently. So it's happening. We need to see it happening all across the country at a massive scale. And that's one of the reasons why we want to engage you guys and empower you to take active role in your local community as an activist for the rights and freedoms, and ultimately against any type of segregation. If you think about Canada, it's a free country, and policies like that should not be tolerated, let alone enforced. And that's kind of the place that you want to come from when you engage at the police stations. But later that day, we went to the gym as we planned on, and we walked in. Every province is a little bit different in terms of which legislation has still not been redacted and still have some basis, although it's becoming very slim to none to actually even have any type of real legal framework. Because what's happening right now is any legislations that actually had our rights within them, they've been redacted, literally like a few days before the vaccination policies going into place in different provinces. But what we did take, for example, to the gym here in BC was the Healthcare Consent Act and the Trespass Act, specifically for the province of BC. And we ultimately took the Nuremberg Code, which is part of international law. So, and we wanted to have some type of documents for these people at these businesses to examine and understand that there's actually a legal framework which protects us as citizens of this country, as well as the patrons of this business that we're going into. So when I walked in, I was actually looking forward to talk to the general manager, Eric, in Fitness World, close to my house where I live in Vancouver. Unfortunately, he was already away. I spoke to one of the assistant manager, Jordan, who's a great guy. He helped us to get a membership in the beginning. They actually honored our mask exemption, which was very good for me because the gym in Toronto, Home Fitness, unfortunately did discriminate against me last November and canceled my membership regardless of me having a legitimate medical exemption. And I have that on a phone recording, and I still can and probably should follow up regarding the discrimination, although, the point is that's just what we all facing at this point. But and then yeah, and Jordan said, okay, I mean, I'll pass this to Eric, and I said, I'm just gonna go work out, and we did. We went work out. I went downstairs, Samantha went upstairs, and as I was training legs because at the police station when we went, the sergeant that saw us, and once I told him I'm gonna go train at the gym, he asked me, is that a leg day? And I said, because of you specifically, I will train my legs, okay? So I did go train my legs, and as I was training my legs, fitness manager of this gym decided to come and tell me that I have to leave. And I'm like, bro, I'm sorry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm a paying member. You have no right to ask me to leave. I'm not breaking any law. Just leave me alone, okay? And he left, and then probably 20 minutes later or whatever, half an hour later, the police did show up. Unfortunately, we had 4 armed men showing up at the gym because Vlad went to train legs. That's kind of the irony of his life, right? And also Yvonne was with us. So Yvonne, Samantha, and myself, 3 of us. I have guest privileges of my membership. Samantha have a membership. I have a membership. My membership was not canceled at that point. They did threaten me with cancellation a couple of weeks before when we went to the gym initially, when it was implemented on the 13th here in BC. But they didn't cancel it. They threatened to cancel it because supposedly I'm either endangering people, or I'm disturbing it, or I'm conflicting the service that's going to be provided, which is all false, and that's the case. So the cops did show up. The fitness manager decided to take upon himself that he's going to be instructing them for us to be escorted out. We said no. We took a stand. The live stream on Wheel Essential can be watched. I think at this point the actual views are close to 170,000, but the reach is crazy to 50. So just going really viral, which is fantastic. Please share so more people can see how we all have to be peaceful, united, not compliance. Honestly, that's really the only way we have left. There is some still legal framework, which we'll definitely do our best to engage and utilize. But at the end, trust me, guys, it's just going to come to peaceful, united, not compliance. And definitely engage the police department locally ahead of time. So they already know that you're going to be doing this. You talk to them, and you just kind of do your best to be cooperative within that framework. Now, you guys can watch the thing. I'm not going to discuss the whole standoff and how we try to engage the police officers and really try to make rational arguments with them and all that stuff. But within that interaction, what really came to my mind is this all could have been easily avoided if that fitness manager, who's, by the way, it's not his job to police my medical record status at all. As a fitness manager, which, by the way, I was a personal trainer and managed my own wellness studio and worked in boutique gyms. The fitness manager job description is to manage personal trainers in the gym, is to make sure that they trained well, make sure they sell personal training sessions enough, and whatever services they provide to the clients within the gym, that's all great. This is the job description of a fitness manager. Where exactly on that list is to enforce segregation policies? Where exactly on that list is to police private medical information? It's not, right? So this young man, unfortunately, could have easily just not engaged me, let it be. When the general manager would come back, they could have engaged me or whatever, but he didn't have to do anything. He just took it upon himself. And the whole conversation that we want to have with you guys right now is, it's very simple just to say no to that, say that it's immoral for me to do it. It's not a part of my job description. I don't feel comfortable doing it, so I'm just not going to do it. Meaning that I'm not going to police people. I'm not going to segregate people. I'm here actually to do my job, which is this exact job description for whatever job you were hired, right? So coming from hospitality industry myself over 10 years, same for Samantha, and then health and wellness industry, all that stuff, we basically would love to offer to all the businesses who's going to be watching this, as well as all the employees of all those businesses who's going to be watching this. This is a great way we can just, provide an opportunity for the businesses to stay open without doing this conflict situation, right? And the way we do it is as a business owner who unfortunately is between the hard and the rock place, as they say, and they are threatened and coerced, almost like a racketeer mafia, is that either you do this or there's going to be consequences. This is literally what these politicians say. Either you behave or there's going to be consequences. Okay, this is like Tony Soprano style. Okay, like what the hell is this? Or Russian mafia style, right? So the point is, the business owner or the general manager, to avoid being fined, can definitely instruct their employees to follow this segregation policy. But all you as employees can do to help this, your employer, either the general manager or the business owner, is just say, I'm not going to do it. I just don't feel good about it. I feel it's immoral, and it creates division within our society, and it's going to create unnecessary conflict. And ultimately, it's actually going to lead to the business being shut down and completely bankrupted. Because this is what we see: the businesses that choose to take a stand, they have lines up outside, and the businesses that segregate, for the most part, have not much business.
Yeah, some of our members have experienced quadrupled their sales by not enforcing this. Others 200%. Meanwhile, those who are enforcing it are actually losing money, because there are many Canadians, whether they have chosen to get the shot or not, they are not for segregation. And so a lot of people are protesting by not spending their dollars at restaurants and gyms that are enforcing this. And, we had some really candid conversations with the policemen after we stopped recording. They are very much on our side. They also feel like their hands are tied to some extent, but ultimately they are not. They may and may not, but they essentially will not show up unless they are called. So once again, just to reiterate Vlad's point, if you are an employee of a business who is being pressured to enforce these segregation policies, you actually have a very important role to play, where you can lend your support to the owner of the business that you work for, and let them know that A, you're opposed to this. B, this is not part of my job description. I don't feel comfortable enforcing this, and plant the seed in their ear that, they, as much as the government is trying to intimidate through the threat of tickets, etc., it would be very tough to catch them in the act of not complying, especially with the support of their staff. And We Are All Essential has many months of experience helping to support business owners that are not complying with lockdowns and other mandates, and have not paid a single ticket. Okay, now some haven't been heard in court yet, right? So I can't guarantee anything. And at the same time, plenty have been thrown out. We're seeing constant pushing back of court cases. Our members want to go to court. They want to show up and have, because the onus is on the government to prove that these are justified, and they can't, right? So, as much as we've been focusing on the business owners, we just really realize that, we as a people, Canadians that believe in freedom of choice and, bodily sovereignty, and just our constitutional rights and freedoms, that we need to protect these, because there's a lot of very shady stuff happening, a lot of manipulation happening within, all of these mandates. For those that don't know, have not gone through the proper legislative process. They're kind of coming in the back door, right? And they're actually overriding our constitution, or overriding laws that have been in place for decades. Okay, so we all need to stand up in our own way. And we just really wanted to encourage you to, I worked in a restaurant. I've worked in restaurants for decades, and I had my line in the sand moment last summer. I started going to protests, and when my employer got word of just through a social media post that I didn't even say I was going to the protest, but they literally saw that I was promoting a protest that was happening. They threatened me, saying that I needed to quarantine for 14 days after every single protest. And in that moment, I had to make the decision whether or not I was going to compromise my integrity, what I believe in, or take a stand. And I chose to, honor my integrity and what I believe. And I wasn't willing to just sacrifice that for a paycheck. And I understand everyone's situation is different, We are very, we can't speak for everybody, but and I can't tell anyone. I have friends in the industry too, and they're feeling very uncomfortable with what's going on. And and they're asking me like, what should I do? And I can't tell you what to do. You will know that moment when it's like there's no other option, that we need to stand in our truth, and we know that like this is the line we need to hold, all of us Canadians, in our own way. You'll know for yourself when that time is, and it's just you being on the right side of history at this point is so important. Yeah, and start to speak to your coworkers, right? You don't have to lecture anybody. Literally just ask, like, what do you think
Yeah.
about these recent
Yeah.
mandates?
Yeah.
Like, would you be willing to maybe talk to management with me? I'm not comfortable with this. Like, take the lead and own how you feel.
Yes.
And I trust me. Like, I took the SkyTrain yesterday, and I was one of the few people not wearing a mask. And there were a couple of other gentlemen that weren't wearing a mask, and I had conversations with both of them. One of them is 36 years old, single dad working in the construction field. He actually has had both shots so far, and at the same time is not for much of most of these mandates, and doesn't believe that anything should be mandatory in that sense. He feels like he's amongst people who just don't care or don't know, and I really encouraged him, like, we all need to be, we all are leaders in our own right, and we need to step into that leadership more than ever right now. And I just encouraged him to start having those conversations in his industry, because like if you've seen what's happening in Australia, and will be happening here in Canada, whether you're affected right now directly or not, I can pretty much guarantee you that at some point we will all be directly impacted by this. So,
Yeah, no,
I
for
just
sure, and I think that's really what's important, right? Just to have those conversations and to engage with other people within, because some people have in those thoughts, but we not necessarily feel comfortable discussing it for whatever reason, right? We feel threatened, we feel uncomfortable, and a lot of people don't connect the dots, right? The media is doing a great job making sure that people forget the history, people don't learn the history, and so that's why it's important to have this kind of conversation and use those words. Segregation. This is not health pass policies. This is not vax pass policies. This is segregation policies, right? Imagine doing something like this in the 80s or 90s, against people that had AIDS, for example, right? Or Ebola or any other type of STDs, etc., right? Or obviously segregation happening against different types of minorities, right? Or this is actually very similar to what's been happening in Soviet Russia in 1918, where the Bolsheviks, pretty much exterminated all the wealthy farmers. They were made to be evil and etc. So this is a really vital time for us to take a stand. We've been saying it for a while, but it's coming even closer now, that the window for us to do any type of action is now, and to change the course, that is, right? So any actions that we take right now still able to change the course of how this agenda might be rolling out. But it's literally like this week's united non-compliance, peaceful united non-compliance is the only way. I see the comment from Marina that they said there might be mystery shoppers coming in. Yeah, but that's the case, right? As a manager and as an owner of a business, you can say, I told my employees to follow the policies. They just refuse, right? So if you want to fine me, like my defense, which is true, I told them to follow the policies because I don't want to get fined, but I cannot make them. I cannot fire them because I need people to work in my establishment, right? And these people they don't want to do this because they feel that's morally wrong. And if you have those conversations, well, this is something that can definitely help us. And if you do end up issuing a ticket, like we've been saying since last year, with lockdown measures, etc., you just file it to court. And you treat it like an administrative parking fine. You dispute it, and it's just going to be put up in the system. And that's it. At the end of the day, they're literally just using coercion. There's nothing else. It's literally strict coercion. They're trying to intimidate and harass people and play on ignorance more than anything. And that's why Will Essential has been from the beginning the empowerment and education support system and a network of other business owners who will support you in your stand for your freedom and ultimately freedom in this country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So once again, speak to your coworkers, see who else is wanting to support the business owner and not complying, and let them know, because there is this workaround where the business owner can certainly sort of say that they're attempting to comply, but are and I've told the staff, but they don't want to do it. Like that is kind of a workaround, but they need to know that you're supporting that, right? That you'll support them. So it's not there's other than mass United non-compliance, we don't have any other silver bullet right now. Because the legal system is very corrupted. And so we just have to work together, in your own industries, in your own way. We all have an ability to take a stand. So we just wanted to encourage that type of dialogue. We need to gather in groups.
Yeah.
And once again,
Yeah.
we are welcoming any and all professions, and non-professionals to come out on Wednesdays at your local city hall and start to gather together and support one another in taking action, and in all the ways that we can, right? So
Yeah, and on that note, and maybe let's wrap it up. The point is to have a short conversation, kind of call to action for people. But even on a conversation of the City Hall rallies every Wednesday at 1 p.m., we already seen success stories being consistent during the work for people coming together. New people are able to find us that didn't know that we existed. So as much as we've been doing, protests of every Saturday for like over, close to a year and a half or even more at this point, it's actually the weekday protests that we go into take an action. And we engage with the people that during the work week that otherwise will not meet on a weekend. That's how we can expand our tribe of freedom warriors, as I say, and together we can take a stand. And ultimately, this is our hill. This is our hill. This is where we hold the line. We do not move. Always be strategic and smart. Don't necessarily go above the board, in terms of getting arrested if you can avoid it, because there's always tomorrow. There's always another day for you to go and challenge another business and make a live stream of that. So be strategic, right? If you are confronted with police officer and they're demanding to see your ID, remember they can actually arrest you for obstruction. That's what they try to do a lot of times. And if in terms of a trespass, if they're really like in the gym, they were really pushing to arrest us for the trespass. After a certain time of holding the line, we walked out because that was not the point to get arrested. The point was to assert our rights, to take a stand, to do our best to educate the people and continue pushing the envelope as much as we can. So I will be following up on those officers with police department after I need to sort out some things tomorrow, as well as on that gym. I'm going to be following up with them and asking, what exactly have I done for you to cancel my membership? I did not provide any type of reasons for you to do that. So if you do it just out of a discriminatory policies, well, that's on you, my friend. Right? So those are the real actions, strategic, efficient, and smart that we all can do. And imagine doing that at a mass scale across the country. This all will be over in 2 weeks if people just come together and take massive action in peaceful, united non-compliance. That is the only way.
And I just want to remind everybody that if you know any business owners who are feeling conflicted and perhaps don't think that they have any choice, please do encourage them to check out weareallessential.ca. We have the ability to support them on lots of levels, through helping them to understand their rights, how they exercise their rights, how they deal with tickets should they get them, as well as community support, being amongst like-minded business owners that can help them when they're feeling not so confident, or they're thinking of cowering. We have the community to help them stand strong in their conviction, no matter what. It's really important. So be sure to just, you don't have to it's not some hard sell. Just let them know. Check out weareallessential.ca. It's a community of small business owners that have come together to navigate these mandates together. So.
Awesome, guys. So yeah, be a leader in your community. It's leadership in action. I look for the questions. Pretty much straightforward, guys. The documents are out there. Be self-empowered. Do self-education. We do provide as much resources as we can, but remember, ultimately, just going to come to us taking a stand and asserting our rights and knowing that you are on the right side of the history. So on today's day, when we have to actually hold everyone's accountable, and that's what we've been doing for the last year and a half. Let's just go out there and protect our communities, protect the future of our children, and ensure that our country stays glorious and free. And together we can make Canada free again.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
Love you guys.
Much love.